Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our weekly webinar workshop. I trust you've had an awesome week thus far. If not, as we say, the weekend is right upon us, and you'll be able to actually go ahead and enjoy the weekend. Brother Charles, how are you doing? Would you like to come on screen and have a little discussion? I'm not sure. Are you where are you at in Austin area? I'm not sure if you're in the Austin area. I know we had a mixed up with the link earlier. I'm not sure if some people still getting the old link from the wellness workshop, but we had completed that. So I'm not sure why it was sending out emails still on that. Maybe we schedule it for an extra week without realizing it. Okay. So let's see here. Brother Charles, if you want to come on as a presenter there, I sent you a link. You can just click on there, and then it will bring you on. All right, folks. Here's the thing. We have a few things that we just want to clarify. We were just on a Zoom call. We were doing some training all this week, sharing with people how to create their own online courses, online presence, and we are preparing to actually launch a course. And so I want to just tell you a little bit about that. For those of you, again, courses, online courses are the wave of the future. Our learnings has changed, been morphed, been transformed, and so you have an opportunity to be able to get your information out there, touch the world, impact so many lives from different facets of the world. So I just want to encourage you on that do not hold your blessings in. The world needs what you have. And so it's our duty to give to the world our gifts and talents that God has given to each and every one of us. And that's really what it's all about. And so it's not only about what I'm doing, it's about, again, we want you to be doing some of the same things. So we had a few people on who have said we're going to make it an exclusive training. So on Tuesday, Wednesday, and today, we were helping a few people to be able to, again, gain some clarity and see how simple it is to come up with ideas that you can share with the world. So on Tuesday, we started out by how do you identify a topic that you want to teach or train on? Again, it doesn't matter what your background is, if it's in ministry, business, or corporate world, or stay-at-home mom, even, or dad. It does not matter. Everyone needs to learn something, and you can teach something. And so we believe in the power of sharing and the power of teaching. So that is why, again, we were able to teach that for the last 2 days. So again, on Tuesday, so we shared, again, how do you come up with a topic? How do you know who needs that information? So we shared with people how to research trends, like online. You can use Google Trends, you can use Amazon, you can use Udemy, you can use so many different platforms to see what content is the world trying to consume. And if you have a knowledge, experience, or expertise in that area, it does not have to be, again, when we talk about experience and expertise, it does not have to be simply academic in nature. One of the ladies that was on our training, she, for example, shared that, she went through a divorce, and now she's mentoring women, and she has small group study with them, and she teaches them about going through divorce. Now, so that's her course. I said, well, you are the best person to teach that. So now she's developing a course for women to be able to help them through, going through a divorce. And that's powerful. That's the kind of stuff that we talked about. So she has experience. You don't need to have a degree necessarily to say, well, who am I to teach this? Who are you not to teach it? So that's what we're saying. It doesn't matter what the background or the niche is. So again, we have people who are stay-at-home moms who are doing this kind of stuff. We have people from all different walks of life, ministry people, business people, professional people, doctors and dentists and lawyers and all these different people. People are just creating things that matters to them and that can help someone else. So that's one of the things. And so teaching is one of the best ways to know that you have learned. And you don't have to know everything. You just have to know a little bit more than the other person. Okay. And not only that, but the world in which we live in, again, people are just searching for so much information. Udemy, for example, has over 65 million students, people there from all walks of life on any topic under the sun almost. You can just type it on there, any subject, and you will see people there who are sharing their wisdom. Some of the courses are very simple and short, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. It doesn't have to be long. It just teach what you know, and you will bless somebody, because the world is dying for the right information. And that's why I'm encouraging our community to do this, because the thing is, of course, we know information comes, is easy to find, but the right information is very important. So a lot of people are getting the wrong advice out there, but we are sitting down and not giving them a different perspective. So if you and I have good information, we should not be, because sometimes we love to criticize people. Oh, you're teaching wrong, you're teaching this. But what am I doing? What are you doing? If we're not teaching, then why are we just sitting on the sidelines criticizing people? At least they're helping, they're trying to help. Some of them are in good faith, but we who have knowledge must go out there and we must share with other people the good knowledge that we have. So that's really the idea that I want to share with you. So anything you've learned, currently learning, in the past, have experienced, weight loss. We have a friend, another lady who was on, is in she loves to cook and she's into health. So that's what she's going to create a course on. We have another lady who is a mother. She is developing a course on, parenting, but in relation to dealing with crisis. Okay. So how to be like successful as a parent or parenting your kids and family in a crisis situation. Beautiful, right? So you see, all of us are into something different, and all of us use the same method and strategies to be able to now come up with these things. And so now, so after we come up with the who should you teach, where can you find people who want to learn what you know, then the next thing we did was how do you outline your talk, your presentation, your lecture, or however, whatever it may be. It's not as hard as we think. So again, it's just basically the idea is just create a step or a bridge, point A to point B. What does someone need to know to get from here to there? So that's why you find most books and courses will have 5 steps to XYZ, 6, 7 steps to so and so, 10 steps to what. That's one of the easiest ways, right? So each step takes you a bit closer to the results that you are trying to do. So if it's weight loss, we can say 8 steps to losing weight. And each of those steps, if, for example, those of you on here may know New Start acronym, right? So NEW. So we have nutrition, we have exercise, we have water, we have air, we have sunshine, we have temperance, and so forth and whatnot. And that's the system, that's the steps, that's the module, that is the outline, the breakdown of getting the results. So if it's, for example, you want to teach people, for those of you in the faith base, you want to teach someone on the Bible, we can say one of the simple things I use is FACTS, FACTS, right? FACTS. So I can call that course 5 steps to be able to interpret the Bible properly or to deliver power-packed sermons, right? And so we're going to say F, hey, what are the facts of the passage? The who, what, when, where, why. A, what is the application? Now that we know this information, how do we apply it in its original context, one, and then how do we apply it to us now? And how do I apply it even to myself? Because if you're going to preach it now, you say, how does it apply to my audience, your congregation, right? C, are there any commands in this passage for me to obey? Are there any promises from God for me to claim? That's what the C would represent. And then we have T, thanksgiving. In light of what we have just read, in light of what we just studied from the Bible, what am I thankful for? And then S now is supplication. So that's a system of teaching that particular topic. So that's kind of what you want to do. Always look for a system, a process, or we call it a bridge. It can be a bridge. So again, we're trying to take people over this bridge to the other side, or from point A to point B is the easiest thing. What steps does a person need to take? And in our world, right, the shorter the steps, the better, because people these days like quick fix. So don't fight against it. Just give them the quick fix that they need, okay? So in other words, if you have 12 steps to somewhere, give them 6 instead of the full 12, or make it 2 courses. So you will do half and half. so they can get some immediate results. That's just the world in which people live in. If they go to a store, for example, to buy a book, one says 50 ways to improve your marriage, and the other says the only or the number one thing that you need to do to have a dynamic, powerful marriage overnight. Which one you think they're going to take? The one with 50 or the one with one step? That's human nature. So that's again just learning human understanding and the way humans are motivated. And so you want to bring that into your teaching. The point is to get them results. It's not about me, it's not about you. It's about getting the people the results. So all of us can teach, all of us can share, and it's a powerful way to impact the world. The current technology allows us to make a difference in people's life more than in our own homes, more than in our own neighborhoods and congregations, because the world is open. We are now in a global situation. And so therefore, having courses on sites like Udemy, Skillshare, Teachable, all of these things, Zenla, your own platform, allows people to receive information, but coming from someone who is balanced and someone who have more than just the temporal perspective. And that's why I want our community to look at that. Okay, so you are all empowered, everybody, every one of us. Again, you look at their children who are teaching things on these platforms. I mean, so many things. Sometimes you look at it, you be like, wow, I know more than this person. Sometimes you say, but hey, they're the ones getting it out there. Okay, so that was Tuesday. So on Wednesday, we talked about technologies and how to record your videos if you want to record yourself. That's one way. But again, free tools, like we use Loom, not Zoom, but Loom. Zoom you can use as well. Zoom is free, but the free version is only 45 minutes. But you can use another website called Loom, Loom. It's free, and it just records your screen, so you can do a PowerPoint. People see the PowerPoint like how you guys and gals see my PowerPoint. You can just share your PowerPoint, and then it will record your voice over that. Or you can show both your voice, both your page and the person. So practice with it. And again, we have people from different ages. We have young folks on there. We had seniors on the training. And, and we share with them. I showed them a demonstration of me recording my new course, which I'm going to tell you about. But they were able to watch me do it. And then I had them share their screen with me, and then we showed them how to record themselves. Amazing, right? Very simple. So we hope we challenge them. And my goal was in 3 days, but okay, of course, there's more to do. I thought you could do all of this in just three days. You can do it in 3 days, but we only had 2 hours per class. And, I have to do it, then they have to do it. And then we had several people on. So it's not hard. It's hard to get them all to get it done at the same time. But nonetheless, at least they have the blueprint and the template, and they can go back and even watch the videos to be able to do that. So now my full goal would be, now we're going to aim for the release date is on Memorial Day, but we're going to have people who want to access it early can get access to it. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's what it is. I shared with them how to use technology, not to be afraid of it. Everything is really, so many free tools. OBS is another free open software that people can use, but Loom is the simplest. So I just show them that one, Okay, or like this, webinars, right? You saw how in the past 5 weeks we interviewed so many people. All of those were recorded by default, right? So it recorded the program automatically. Now we can send that to people as a course right there. So that's another way. You don't have to be the expert. I interviewed experts, right? I was not the expert in those subjects, but because I interviewed them, now we have access to that content. So that's another way in which you can teach. You can have people on as a panel discussion, and you pull the information out of them for the benefit of your audience. So that's another way. So again, if I were doing, let's say you want to teach on marriage, and you can teach part of it, and then you can say, hey, how about inviting 4 or 5 people who are experts in this area, who might be a marriage therapist, one might be a minister, psychologist, or something like that, different backgrounds, and then you bring them to discuss an aspect of marriage and relationship. Well, so you already teaching your perspective, and now you have varying perspectives, and then you put those videos together. Voila. Isn't that easy? So that's another thing. You can do a webinar now. Again, Google just opened up again its ability to host meetings virtually, so you can get into that. Again, Zoom is what everyone is using tonight. Right here, I use Webinar Jam. That's for me. That's what works the best. But Webinar Jam, this right now is being recorded, and as soon as I finish this, when I click stop, I can go over to YouTube, and that video will be there waiting for me. See? So what am I do? I don't have to press record either. As soon as I start here, it automatically takes care of all of that, right? And there you go. And now I can just promote this. So I can come on here and talk about any subject or teach or have interactions with the audience like I normally do. And then voila. And then you put that out there. You're gonna bless somebody. This is what it is. It's like, don't be shy. Get it out there. Even if it's one or two or three people, those are two or three people that you would not have touched if you keep the information in, right? You don't want to keep the information in at all. And then today, the last day, so again, we took 3 days and we went through that. So on day number 3 today, I shared with them now how to upload their courses onto Udemy. Now there are other platforms, Udemy, and then their own website. I was showing them, and that's what I wanted to do tonight. But there's a lot of bandwidth that is being pulled here, so it slows down the computer. So maybe in the future I'll just do a record one and share it with you. But for now, my courses, I've created courses, and so in some of those courses I've shared how to actually do this. But I shared with them live, and they were watching my screen as I do it, and I was sharing with them. So I actually logged into Udemy, showed them how to fill out their profile, showed them how to set up a course. This is where you click, fill out the information. This is where you click, fill out the information. This is where you upload the video. It's really simple. And I'm saying if I can do it, anyone can do it, because I'm saying, and I say that because again, you say, oh, well, you're a pastor, you're a professional, and but I'm saying I'm using Zoom, I'm using Webinar Jam, I'm designing my own web pages and websites, not because I can't have somebody do it, but I'm just saying the fact is the technology is made nowadays like dummy proof. That's really what it is. It's just like, oh, it says click here to upload video. Where is the video located on your computer? Click there. And it does it all. Like, that's really how it's like toys, right? Like my son, he just got 2 toys. Someone sent him like 2 toys on 2 different days, right? He never read the manual. He doesn't. Why? Because toys today are built in such a way. Again, same thing, dummy proof. So he is 6 years old. He does not need instructions. He just opened the stuff. Okay, it's really simple. This is probably where the battery goes. Put it in there. There's an on switch over there. Turn it on. Oh, and this is to go forward, this is to go backward. So in other words, it's only when people run into problems nowadays they read the manual, right? But that's really how our world is. So that's the power also of technology, because it allows things to be created in such a way where you really don't need much knowledge and expertise. So that's why it's called smartphone, for example. It was so funny. One of the ladies on our training too, they had when we were doing the Loom stuff, right? So I asked her, because her stuff seemed to be slow. So I said, are you connected to the straight to the source, your router, or are you on Wi-Fi? And she shouted out, was it Google? She said, Google. Am I connected to the internet, to the Wi-Fi? And I just start cracking up, right? Because I'm saying this is the world we're living in. So it's easy. We are trying to do something positive. That's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to help you to realize that the world has opened up to everybody, and there's more to life. I think what we are dying for today is a lack of inspiration and a lack of significance, meaning, purpose beyond the mundane, right? People are no longer just inspired by going to a job or just having a job or even the money alone. Okay, some money does inspire some people, but it's not a lasting motivation. What we are discovering now is that people are tying more of purpose and impact and significance to their worth and value, right? And so that's why a lot of people, Even when they have decent jobs, they dread their jobs and they don't even want to go there because they're not happy, they're not excited, it's not motivating to them because there is no substance behind it. And we find substance by serving and blessing people. That's really the point. And so that's why I'm saying, for me, like I said, what I do is a very important work. It really is. But I'm telling you, I get more value and more significance knowing that someone across the aisle, someone across the world is watching a video that I made, someone across the world is reading a book that I created or taking a course that you know why that gives me value? Because I'm saying, you know what you do and you are right here. But when you are aware that your work, what you do, is touching the lives of so many people, then you feel good about yourself. You feel good sleeping at night, and you have purpose and reason to get up in the morning because it's more than you. Our jobs is for us, ourselves. And if that's where it stays, that's why again most people just don't feel like, I'm inspired, or it's like we just existing, right? So we don't want you to just make a living. We want you to actually live. So some people are making a living, but they're really not living, right? They're making a living by going to a job and that's it. But the job technically can be with or without you. And so that's why they're not seeing the tangible results or what their job do. So that's why I say, even with that, we, get more involved probably in the job and do other things. They're like extracurricular activities on your job. Because again, it's not just simply clock in and clock out. What's the purpose? You just spend 8 hours of your life to earn a dollar. But when you see that your work and contribution is being valued, that's what gives purpose and meaning to life. So I know my people value what we do, but still, it's kind of like a person who goes to any job. You know that, well, I mean, this is what you want to do. It's like your coworkers, they know you. But for me, like I said, I get a greater blessing and a greater sense of purpose and well-being knowing that somewhere along the world, and I get random emails sometimes from people, and it does my heart good. And it makes me now want to go and create other things. Why? I'm not being paid for it. I don't have to be. So the drive is there more than, like, for example, I mean, most ministers would not have need to or feel the urge to go write a book, create a course or something. And they don't have to. But I feel the drive to. Why? Because I have a greater sense of purpose, because I know that there are other people beyond my own sphere of influence that are reading what I'm putting out and that are learning. So I see myself and my extended reach beyond the pews where I minister to. I have a global audience to reach. That's going into all the world. So that's how I see myself, as a global missionary and not simply one who is stationed in one place locally. And that's it. So you minister here, don't get me wrong, that's important. But like I said, without that, I would just feel like everyone else probably, because it's just like, well, you know, I go, I preach, I come back home, I witness here and there, but then it's like, who are you touching beyond the pews? So that's why I say people who give, for example, who donate to charities, feel a greater sense of purpose because their job might not be doing that, but because they're doing it, they're seeing other things that impacted other people's life. And don't get me wrong, if we could see our jobs as having that impact, then you would be in your sweet spot, because our job should also be our play if we really think about it. But most of our time we put clock in and then later on we try to have play. And that's part of the problem of human life, because all of our time we get so tired in the work that there's no other time to play. So if your work can become your play, then you have found the sweet spot. That's what life truly should be all about. You should aim to find a business, a job, a practice or ministry that encompasses all of who you are, right? So most people, again, they go to work, I'm a professional now, and then you go somewhere else and now you take that off and now you can really truly be you. How about if you were able to show up like the artists, and the musicians? They, I find, are living in a good mixture, because that's who they are. They show up, I'm a musician. I'm a musician everywhere. And so we have to be that, especially God's people. You're a missionary everywhere. Not like, okay, I go to work, I put on my secular hat, then I come home, or I go to church now, I put on my spiritual hat, and then you go somewhere else, you put on another hat. No, if you can blend all of that together, how beautiful that can be. But I know we all can't do that, so that's why I say find an outlet, and hopefully, I'm telling you, one of the ways to get that outlet is by sharing your knowledge, your experience, and your expertise, either one, with people online through videos and through courses or whatever the case may be. Okay, books, even. These things are fast to do. I know it sounds complicated, but it's truly not. Like I said, I shared with people today. All of them, by the way, were older people for the most part, right? In the sense of these are people who already have life, have a career. They're not like young people. All of them have kids, for one. Two of them are grandmothers. Okay, so you know, we are saying that you can touch people, you can be a big blessing, and I want you to be a big blessing because we are dying with our music in us. I don't want you to die with your music in you. I want you to give to the world all that God has installed in you. And if He can give us technology right now so that we can reach even more people, then I think we ought to take action with that. Because again, when I go to Udemy, I see a whole lot of people putting their stuff up there, and I wonder where many of the people of faith are. There are some people who have faith courses on there, and that's helpful. But I'm saying, in our community here, I don't know where are you? Where are your courses? So that's what I'm saying. The world is feeding at the fountain of knowledge and information. But remember, there's a tree of the good knowledge of evil and good. So we have to be careful that people are not eating from the wrong tree. But you and I need to plant trees in these platforms, as it were, speaking spiritually for you. Okay, so that's my encouragement. Alrighty. So what do we have coming up? Well, here is what I've been working on, and here is what. Let's see. I'm going to put it below here. So here, let me just run through what we have here. This is what I've been working on, and this is what I've been creating this course. That's what the attendees were watching over my shoulder as I create this. I showed them how I went through this. Now, the idea for this first came just last month. So that's another thing why we say, again, speed of implementation. I did not act on it right away, but again, it's in my journal. I shared with them, I showed them the journal entry when the idea came, and the actual writing and the scribbles and the notes and the sections of it. So we are going to be releasing Pandemic Survival System. It's an online course, which we are going to eventually turn into a book as well. So this is my 6th online course, and it will be, I think, my 13th book. Okay, so this right here is what I believe can be a blessing to people. Now, I wish it came out in, early in the year, right? It would have made a big impact then, but we know that it can still create a blessing. So this is a 3-module course. I'll let you know about it. We are going to be teaching people several skills. So the subtitle on it, so the book will be called Pandemic Survival Secrets. The course is Pandemic Survival System, right? So this is all about how do we prepare adequately for pestilences, perils, right, plagues, and pandemics. We play with these P's because that's what preachers do, right? Normally you hear a sermon, they're going to give you like all S's, or all C's or something like that. So that's kind of what we were playing on that. So the idea here is pretty much crisis. How do we plan and prepare for crises? Because we learned a lot of lessons now that we're coming out of this thing. We've learned a lot of lessons that even for us, many of us were caught off guard. In some ways, even myself was caught off guard. Even before I came into ministry, I worked with a nonprofit organization that was both a ministry and a humanitarian relief organization. We responded to many natural disasters. So in other words, we were in crisis management. And so, but again, since I'm not in that, then you start lowering your guards, right? So, but here's the thing. I believe that we should all be ready, right? Proverbs says the wise or prudent sees danger or evil that is coming, and they hide themselves or they make plans and preparation for what is to come. But the foolish, the gullible, right? It says they pass on and do nothing. So they are caught off guard, and thus it says they are punished or they suffer the consequences. This is a reoccurring theme that people of faith, we should not be like the rest of the world, you know, where we ourselves are panicking, where we ourselves are doing all the crazy things that they do that put everybody else's life in danger and even cause some of these laws to be passed as well, because the more they act up is the more stringent government enforce certain laws. So you and I want to be prepared for future crisis. The Bible tells us that we have not even experienced anything yet, right? There's a great time of trouble still to come. And Jesus said also many of the signs that we do talk about today, these are just but the beginning of sorrows. So we will see more and more of these things happen. But it's not only about the health aspect. So the first aspect of the course, the first module, is going to be dealing with how do we actually prepare for times of troubles and uncertainties. In there, I shared with you how to boost immunity. Immunity boosting is the main thing, one of the crucial things. And we're not talking about only physical immunity in terms of health, because that's the known, that's what we've been getting. But many people were caught off guard in the other areas, right? So we want to talk about, in this course, we're going to talk about how to boost your financial immunity, because every time there is a crisis, there will always be an economic trailing on there. And so this pandemic created both a financial economic crisis as well as a health crisis. And we see a social crisis because, again, it says domestic violence and so forth went up. We had a mental crisis, and that's why we did that 5-week seminars too on mental and emotional wellness. Okay, so that first module is dealing with those sections. We're going to talk about boosting your immunity spiritually, physically, financially, and relationally or socially. If you boost those 4 areas before a crisis, then when a crisis hits, you will be able to rebound better. Because here's the thing, even if your health was good, but then now here we are suffering the financial crisis now, many people lost their jobs, many of us can't pay bills. That now in turn is going to affect my health again. Why? Because I'm going to be stressed, you can be depressed, and so many different things can come in there. And that itself can create domestic violence, that can create a situation where they even predict that, you know, through this thing, we might see a rise even in divorce case. So it's affect family life. And so that's why we do talk about the social elements of a pandemic as well. Module number 2. Module number 2 is all about how do we remain productive during a crisis. This module speaks to how do we succeed in times of uncertainties, right? Because we have to still thrive. And I'm going to share with you again from several stories in the Bible of crises and pandemics and how God people thrive in the midst of the crisis. Let's just take a basic one. I'll share with you a couple right now. But you look at the story of the flood, right? That was a global crisis, wasn't it not? It was a global crisis that affected the entire world. But Noah thrived in the midst of the crisis. Why? Because he followed certain protocols of God. You read Hebrews chapter 11, and then Genesis as well, Genesis 6. So Noah was able to thrive in the midst of the crisis, took care of his family, took care of their material needs, all of that in the midst of a crisis. Joseph, again, faced another crisis in Egypt when there was a famine that affected not only Egypt, but affected many countries around. So we can call that a national crisis, which is in the nation itself, but even probably partially global, right? Or regional crisis that affects several regions. So that was a crisis. But Egypt did not starve because Joseph took certain actions and he was able to thrive in the midst of the crisis. You look at the story of the widow of Zarephath and Elijah. There was also a famine. That was another crisis, right? There was another famine, and God took care of Elijah in the midst of that. He says, I will make provision for you. So God protected him and he provided for him. He sheltered him. So we see all of these things happen to the righteous in the midst of a crisis. They thrived. Then the widow, even though she did not have anything, God had already said once the brook dried up, he said, because in a crisis, your financial resources will dry up, may dry up, as we see some people's resources are dried up. But did God leave the prophet? He said, no, I have created and commanded a woman, a widow woman, by the way, who was on her last meal. Isn't it interesting? God had already prophesied that this woman who had nothing, or at least one meal remaining, God said, through this woman now, I will provide for you and I will provide for her in the midst of the crisis. So this woman learned how to thrive in the midst of a crisis, and she herself was spared in the midst of a crisis. In other words, she was able to succeed. Jesus commented on this in the New Testament in Luke chapter 4, when when the Pharisees and the people wanted to kill him, because he said, remember during the days of Elijah and the famine, God did not send blessing except to this woman, the widow of Zarephath, a strange nation, right? Right. So she was blessed. Now they got upset because he was pretty much saying God didn't come to Israel, but he came to strangers, right? He came to the outsiders. So, but anyhow, the idea here is they all succeeded and they all thrived in a crisis. What lessons can we learn from these things? And then lastly, module number 3. So again, there are 3 modules. Module number 3 now is dealing with what skills do you need to develop even before and during and after a crisis? What skills do you need to develop before, during, and after a crisis? Now, we hope that module 1 and 2 will help us with the before things, which is again boosting your spiritual, financial, social, and otherwise, boosting those areas can help greatly. But then there are certain skills that you want to develop. This is because at the end of most crises, things do not go back to normal. They create a new normal. And so now we are seeing, for example, many teachers who never taught online before, now they have to teach online. That's a skill that we should develop, which is learning videos. That's why I'm here. I'm telling, and that's why I held this class, because many professionals need to now begin to learn some of these technologies that we've been running from. So learning to do video. People are no longer reading as much as they used to read. So therefore, guess what? We need to help people to share their message as well. We need to figure out how to share our message on video. You have YouTube, you have Facebook, you have all these other platforms, TikTok. Why do you think those things thrive so much? Because this is the fast way of consuming information. Accelerated learning is another skill that we need to learn in this season, because time and information is going so fast. Then we need to learn quicker. You cannot spend the same amount of time in the same old model no more to learn information. You have to learn stuff faster. There are strategies in being able to be a fast learner. Creative collaboration is another skill that we need to learn, because again, we say if the world is global, then we need to learn to collaborate. Many people are poor at collaboration, and we're not talking only in the workplace, but now we are able to collaborate globally. If we produce my work, for example, it takes a global team, right? I focus primarily on content creation. That's what God gave me. I get the information easily. But there are other people who does editing. There are other people who does graphic design and so forth. And so you see, I need to what? Collaborate. So I need to learn communication to deal with other people, other ethnicities, other nationalities, other countries, our religions, all of these things. We need to learn the key skill of collaboration, because it is collaboration that will make us thrive, because the world now is functioning in teams and groups where we are able to accomplish greater things. We put heads together, but the heads are not simply on your job. Sometimes many companies now are sharing cross-cultural information, right? And so we have to be able to use these resources. Project management is a major skill there, right? That involves in collaboration. How can you manage all this diversity, right? Churches need that. And one of the reasons why many churches are also dying as well is because they're not thriving in this area, because the churches that are growing are the ones that are multicultural in nature. Okay, if a church is one race primarily dominant, that church will find it difficult to thrive or may even die. Why? Because the world is now moving in this aspect of inclusivity and diversity. And that's really what is driving the growth in every sector. And so that's why we all, no matter who you are, if you're a minister, whatever, you got to learn people skills, you got to learn diversity, you got to learn to collaborate with other people and other culture. I am in an area where it's primarily Hispanic. I have people on my boards that are multi-ethnic. We have people from Asia, we have people from the Caribbean, we have people who are Latin Americans, and we have Anglos. Okay, so all of those are diverse background, and for us to move the church together, we have to be able to still speak one language. That's a challenge, but it's also why I say we need to learn creative collaboration, because if I cannot understand them, if I cannot figure out their learning styles, their gifts and talents, and what moves and inspires them, because what may move me, yes, I may be black, but I'm also from the Caribbean. So I am motivated differently. So if I don't put myself in their shoe or learn how to deal with different backgrounds, then I may be using things only that I am motivated by, which they might not be motivated by, and therefore we will not be able to achieve the goals, whether it's for the church or for the ministry or for your business or practice. It's all the same principle. So what else are we talking about there? So we also need to learn how to promote and market online. Again, so many ministries are missing out here, nonprofits. If everything is becoming a digital thing, then it behooves the churches and the ministries and your businesses and the nonprofit organization or your private practice to learn how to promote online. So in other words, when you would send your stuff to a newspaper or in the physical, now you will put it on a podcast or an e-zine or a blog. When you would do a billboard, now you put it on a different thing online, right? Where you can see you have classified ads and so forth, the same thing online digitally. When you would go on a radio interview, now you will go on a podcast. When you will go on a TV interview, which costs so much money, now you will go on a Facebook Live, a YouTube Live, an Instagram Live, and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same idea, but now it's being shifted into the new delivery system. And that's the kind of way we got to do. So again, I know for me, one of the things that kills us all the time is that, I just don't understand why we send out so much flyers in the mail. Nobody's using that thing. And not only that, but the rate of return is not very good and you can't really track it. But when we do digital advertising to Facebook and YouTube and Banzuka and these other ones, you can track everything and you can reach way more people for pennies. Okay. And that's why we need to all learn these things, because it's frustrating also in that regards when you are trying to take us into the way that this is the trend. Now we are stuck in our model. So that's why I'm saying we got to learn these skills. And for now, there's 7 of them. I'll give you just one more. And one of the skill that is very crucial that I identify in this course in module number 3 that we must learn is we must learn to become analysts, right? We must learn the skill of forecasting, right? Jesus put it this way. He said, the people in this world are wiser in their generation than the children of light. Another thing he said is, when you see these things, know that it is near. That is not only talking about the spiritual in the sense of the second coming. We can apply it as well, equally saying it's just like Proverbs. The righteous sees the evil that is to come and they make plans and preparation now. That's the idea. When we see things happening, it ought to move us to action, not just talk about it, okay, or preach about it. It means, therefore, I must organize myself, my resources, and I must respond positively, okay? So we don't want to be reactive. We want to be proactive, is responding in advance. So when we look at the culture and we see things happening, when I look at the economy, I see certain things happening. For example, again, we all took a hit economically, right? But I'm saying, didn't it make sense to you that if the world, most of the countries are continuously locking down, then that should have signaled to us here that, hey, we're going to be next, right? And then furthermore, when it began to hit us here in the US, Texas took a little bit. So that should have been a sign, it's coming to you. And furthermore, if indeed we're going to be locked down for a month or plus, shouldn't that be an idea? If, for example, you had some stocks in certain things, you could have alleviated the hit. right? We could have shifted from one to the next because health is the main thing. People are concerned about health. Toilet paper, you see all the people acting crazy. So go buy some stock in Procter and Gamble. I'm saying if you are into that, that's what we say is where you see you learn to move with times at the times. If he says when you see that it is you see the clouds, you say that oh this is going to happen, and he say you are right, but you can't even discern the signs and the time. He says if you see the clouds are dark, you know that it's going to rain. So if I see everybody going to buy up all of toilet paper, all of these household items, then maybe I want to invest in Amazon. If that's where you are on that mindset, you catch what I'm saying? Or if you know that what's going to happen in advance, because that's always people's skills, and that's what I'm saying. Even we were caught off guard to some degree because every disaster we've responded to, we've seen people act like that, right? We've seen people act like that. And so I say, okay, in advance, I make sure I have these things on hand in case. Okay. And in the military, we have a saying it's better to have it and not use it or not need it than to need it and you don't have it. That's a very good thing. I always remember that. Better to have a chance and don't use it or don't need it than you now need it, but now you don't have it. So that's something that we can keep in mind. So that's it. That's the course that is coming to you again. We're going to put some finishing touches on it on next week, but we're going to already start accepting orders. Even for now, for those of you who want to click below here and get in early, get at the early price and secure your spot. We're going to give some bonuses. And for those who buy it right now, if you buy the course now, when the book is actually released, we'll also send you a copy of the book, a free copy, so you wouldn't need to buy the book as well. Okay, but remember, we are doing the course first. Normally we do our books first, then our course, but again, part of us teaching our community, I want to show people as well that it is possible to create a course and then from the course create the book. So this is part of our experiments as well. So we're just teaching our people. We are helping every one of us who are professionals to create content out there to make a difference in the world. So I'm showing you, I give you a breakdown of how I do it so you can do it as well. So if you want the course, like I said, it's right here, right below this here. You can click the Pandemic Survival System course. Again, it's going to be 3 modules. We're going to be walking you through all those different things I just talked about. You're going to get some awesome bonuses. There is, for example, an infographic that not only gives you the outline, there's one that talks about 19 great ways to combat COVID-19. It's called the Coronavirus Contingency, right? That itself could have been a book. Okay, but we list some there, some natural remedies that you can use, some supplements that you can use, and some stuff to take care of yourself, right? We call it self-management. So we give you different secrets on that. So that would be a nice handout. You can always print it out, stick it up somewhere. Okay, but again, you're gonna get the book. We're going to be doing some coaching for those of you who need some coaching in helping you to get prepared in the areas where you're weakest. Again, this is not simply about stocking up on food, right? That's not what we are giving you, a holistic approach to preparing for the future crisis. So if you need help preparing spiritually, we're going to help you there. If you need work on the financial aspect, we give you 30 days of coaching on that as well. And wherever you need the help, or in whichever module you need help, then if you need us to coach you on that, then we will make that available as well. Okay, so that's it. That's where we are. Okay, next week we come with some other regular stuff, but we wanted to give you an update on the pandemic survival system. That is, I believe, a good course right now to be a blessing to our community. Everyone is talking about that. So do when you see the email comes, right, share it, click on it, check it out, give us some feedback. If you have any tips that you want to add in there, it's not too late. Like I said, we still putting some finishing touches on there. It's going to be available in several places, but we always want you to get stuff from our website. It's easiest that way. But of course, it's going to be on Udemy. It's going to be on TabletWise. It's going to be probably on Zenla, several different places. You can, of course, watch it on your phone, any device that you have that connects to the internet. You can watch it on that as well. All right, my friends, I pray that you will maximize your life. Take care, be careful, still out there, be safe. And but let us all prepare and use our gifts and talents And if I can help you, please reach out to me. We are willing to do that. Okay. If I can help you do something to impact other people's lives, to reach the world, trust me, that's really what it's all about. That's where this season of my life, that's what I'm all about. I'm all about creating lasting impact and extending the kingdom of God using the power of technology, because that's how He has opened my eyes as one of the key ways in which that is to be done in this season. So that's why I'm maximizing this outlet. So thank you. Good night and enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.